right, guys, we are live. Tuesday's Q&A. Today is going to be more of a rant, unless you show up on YouTube and or one of the groups and asking questions. We'll answer them. Got my good buddy Charlie Engel here, the wood floor guy. That's what it is, right? The wood floor guy.
The wood floor guy.
Yeah. Man, he's been doing hardwood floors and been in construction as long as I have. So we're two old dudes right now. We may start a podcast just called the Two Old Dudes. I don't know.
The WTF podcast.
Yeah, I want to chat with Charlie, his history and what he does, and man, because he does a lot, and he helps a lot of guys. And but then before we get out of here, I'm going to rant a little bit and read some comments out of one of the Facebook groups where they're asking me if I'm a troll because I'm telling them to quit worrying about what other people are charging and worry what they charge. So I don't even know if you've seen that post in one of the groups.
I did. I saw it about noon today, I think.
Yeah. But so just, I mean, because if they're longtime, followers of the YouTube channel, they've probably seen you. But hey, give them a little bit of, because Charlie's outside of Dallas, but you grew up there, right, Charlie?
Yep, I'm still in McKinney, the town I was born in. I started doing wood floors about the same time you did. I think you got started a little bit earlier than me. You were what, 85 or so, 84?
82. Yep.
Yep. I got into it. I started working for some guys in 80, I think it was end of 84, beginning of 85. And
yeah,
worked with them for a couple of years, did everything. Mainly at that time, it was a lot of commercial work because that was when everything was booming.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, because that was Reagan's first years.
That was, yeah, this was the beginning. I got into it, the beginning of Reagan's second term.
Yep.
For myself.
So the second term you got into it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but I remember all the old timers were ready to see the peanut farmer, get ousted and
Jimmy,
Reagan come in. Jimmy Carter. Yeah. And I wanted to let you. I'm kind of bragging that you grew up in Texas because you're not a transplant, because you guys have people from all, a lot of Californians, but a lot of Arizonians, a lot of New Yorkers. Everybody seems to be moving to Texas.
I want everybody to understand California people are my favorite when they move. They have buckets and buckets of money. And they spend it. They're buying these houses. One of my clients just bought a $1.25 million house, and he had sold. And now this house is basically a mansion. It's 4,500 or so square feet, but he had sold about 1,000 square foot house out there in California somewhere.
Yeah.
And so he bought that house, and he's considering buying the house next door to him that's gone up for sale.
Wow, you love Californians.
I love California.
It's crazy. I think I was talking to a homeowner a couple of days ago, and maybe they bought the house like 25 years ago, which was, even then it seemed like a lot of money, but she probably paid 25 years ago. She probably paid $280,000 for it, and then about 16 years ago, she said she went through divorce, but she was able to keep the house, and they worked it out somehow. But now it's $1.1 million, and I'm like. It was like, and like you said, it's probably total 900 square feet, maybe 1,100 square feet, built in 51, probably 6,000 square foot lot, nothing special. And that's that's what she was saying. I was like, man, did you ever imagine it would be that much? And no one does. It's just mind boggling.
Right.
And I'm like, but if you sell it, you got to leave the state, because if you sell it, you can't buy anything else here. Everything else is just as high, or you'd have to downgrade. But
right.
Man, if you sell it and walk away with $1 million cash plus a decent retirement from somewhere, you can move to another state and do pretty well for yourself.
Very well.
Yeah.
This is actually our second cycle of people from California. A big cycle was around the end of Reagan's second term. A lot of people, for whatever reason, 87, 88 started moving here up to about 92. Then it sort of slowed down, and it started again about roughly 2.5 years ago. But, we just had Toyota move their headquarters here a few years back, and I think a lot of them are from that.
Hey, trust me, because you talk about commercial work. right here down the street from me in a little town called Torrance, used to be the Toyota headquarters. And we used to do all the, chair pads and a lot of the office rooms, anything that with flooring, the parquet, all that stuff we would do. And, they ousted up and moved to Texas, and we're like, son of a bitch. But now
I'm so happy. So happy.
a lot of people have. They're shutting down one of the big oil refineries around here because of the friggin' governor just won't stop. He's only got 2 more years, and he's out. I don't know who's going to come in after that, but he'll do a lot of damage in 2 years just because he's a jerk.
Right.
I think people are drawn to Texas because from the beginning, Texas is probably I think it's the only state in the union that at one time was its own country for, I don't know what, 10 years or so.
Right.
Maybe longer. And then decided to join up, with the rest of the United States and become a state. And I heard, and I don't know if it's true, but someone had said in the paperwork they had, written or wrote that at any time they wanted to succeed and go back to being their own country, they could. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've heard it both ways, but I can tell you that would be a hard path to take. I can't see the government allowing that now.
No, not letting Texas go.
Right. Too much taxes.
Yeah, too much money.
A lot of oil money.
Yeah, I just started watching Landman.
Landman, right?
Landman, right? Yeah. And I like the way I like that dude anyway. He just finished a podcast with Joe Rogan. It's like 3 hours, and he's a Texas guy. And Joe Rogan swears he'll never leave Texas. He just loves everything about it. But so in the 84s and the mid 80s, you're doing hardwood floors, a lot of the commercial work, and there's pros and cons. I tell these guys pros and cons to commercial work was the pros is like you didn't have a homeowner looking over your shoulder and nitpicking every little thing. But you had every other trade working on top of you, man.
Literally on top of you.
Yeah, we'd wait for scaffolding to be moved. We'd glue down some flooring. The scaffolding would come back, and it would be all dusty. I mean, it was a lot of nighttime work.
I made them, everybody that I did work for, I made them stipulate that we came in at night. We would come in typically. Most of the guys would work until 4 or 4:30 that did the day shift stuff. The drywall people and the painters and all. So my thing was, they were all gone and we could get in and do what we needed to do. And if we were finished, we could cover the floors up. And then once the floors were covered, they owned it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've taken a couple of commercial jobs just recently because these 3 young guys that I'm training, I want them to kind of experience everything. It's a pain in the butt for me. We just finished a big restaurant down in San Diego. Nice fancy thing, and these young bucks, they're 22, 23, they love it.
Work.
What's that?
Work.
Yeah. And so I'm there up till probably like 1:30, 2 o'clock, just to make sure they're not going to blow up the place, and then I hit the road and they finish everything up. But I want them to experience all of that. And if the job comes across the desk, they're asking me, hey, should we even bid this or call the people back? And normally I would have said no, but now I'm giving these guys like herringbone patterns to install and, hand distress some stuff. I want them to see a little bit of everything just so that they know it, because nothing's going to change the way that we do work now, which is the systems that we have, which is just geared towards nothing but profit. But if I'm here and these different jobs come across, I'd like them to at least experience it and have me, be there with them to walk them through it. Because now you ventured out and you quit doing the installation, you quit doing the refinishing, you just do the maintenance part of it now, which is, if you can do it, man, I think that's one of the, not the best way to go, but it's a great way to go. One of the guys that I worked with in the early beginnings, because way back in the day, we did what you still do. We had the Duracell Renovator and the the paste
Paste
wax
wax.
and the Duracell seal. Yeah, and we'd hit it with the steel wool, and we'd strip off all the old wax and let that dry, and then we'd paste wax it on, or sometimes we'd use the liquid Duracell or Durafinish that they called it. A couple of different companies, and then we'd white pad our way out and polish it up like a shiny brand new nickel. So the guy that I learned all that stuff with, he had over 2,500 clients in a big filing cabinet in the vanilla folders. And whenever we would slow down from installations or refinishing, he kept 6 crews busy. Man, he'd go right to that cabinet where all the wax cleaning waxes was, and he'd just line us up, and we'd stay busy as long as he needed us to stay busy. We'd do 2 to 3 different cleaning waxes a day.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Myself, I've got just over 700 clients, and they're not, some are every 6 months, some are annually, some are every 2 years. So it just depends on who they are. Their lifestyle changes. Your kids grow up, you don't have any dogs anymore, so they don't have to be done quite as often. And it's funny, you brought up that old Duracell wax, the liquid wax. All these guys that are screaming, that are in certain groups about how not to use these waxes, they're basically using the same thing now. It's just a different version with all of these hard wax oils. It's essentially the same sort of product.
Yeah. And because you've been doing it forever, but I could still go to some of these old houses that have that Duracell paste wax on it, and they still look good if they still look good. Yeah, I mean, and the guy that I started with, or not, he was like the second or third guy that I worked with, but it was early in my career. If it looked like it was the last time a floor could be refinished, the nail heads are showing or it's getting thin, he would tell the homeowner, he'd say, don't do the polyurethane. We'll do 1 coat of sealer, and then we're going to do the paste wax, and then it'll last forever. You're just going to have to maintain it. I'll come in every year, every other year, and we'll just, put a new coat of wax on it, strip off the old wax, and it'll last forever. And it was the same thing, kind of like they teach right now with these new liquid waxes and liquid oils. Yeah.
People say the polyurethane doesn't need to be maintained. There's nothing farther from the truth. Every wood floor, if you're going to walk on it, it has to be maintained. Whether you clean it or you apply, you can apply a wax to it. Not everybody agrees with that, but I can tell you from 40 years of experience, you damn sure can.
Yeah, that's that big fancy restaurant down in San Diego that we just finished. They're hitting me up, and that's not my thing. So I really like, but these young kids and my daughter, they'll be around forever. So we're coming up with a number because they're like, hey, we need you in here every 6 months, doing something so the floor doesn't get to the shape that it was in.
Right.
So they want us, so like you said, we'll go in. It'll only be 2 nights. We'll do half and then do the other half the next night, and just do a deep clean, screen and coat, and keep it, maintained, especially a restaurant like that. And I've seen you post, some guys will post pictures and ask what kind of floor is this? What's the whatever the heck? And you and I are probably there may be a couple of other guys, but that know the product, but it's that Hardco Pattern Plus. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And so you and I, like, as soon as we see the picture, I know exactly what it is. And I'll usually wait and lean back and wait for all the other guys to try to think or come up with what the heck they think it is. And I know it, like, I used it when it first came out. I've still used it. I've like, and that was supposed to be a great commercial product. But even that, they told you have to maintain it, and none of them ever do.
I used to, the BX that was out at the Air Force Base out in Fort Worth, I think it was Carswell, was the name of it. I took care of them annually for 10, 11 years. It was, that huge BX. They would just let me in at night, me and a couple of my guys, and we would sit and do row. It's just like a big grocery store. So you do row after row.
Yeah.
And it would take all night, but we would normally be done by the time they were ready. And that was the beauty of that product, because it was a 2 component. You had to put one thing down and then something else. So it was always ready for them, though, by the time they opened up. I think it was 7 a.m. or so.
Yeah. And it was, I tell some of these, I said, yeah, it's the Hardco Pattern Plus, the impregnated and like
acrylic impregnated. Right.
and it's like you can flip it over and it almost looks the same. I mean, it's still a good product. We even refinish them nowadays and put the Loba finish on them, and they still look beautiful.
Right.
So you got into the maintenance. Why? Because it was easier.
Well,
Because I know you had all the employees, you had all of that stuff, and now it's just kind of you, and maybe you'll bring someone in, and I know you give away a lot of jobs that you don't want to do, and some contractors are lucky to get it, or you sub it out, something. But
yeah, I've got somebody that I've got somebody for the most part I've been handing it off to. I've done this with a couple of different folks over the last 2 or 3 years, but I typically anymore will only take a job if it's of a certain size and the numbers are right.
yeah,
So usually my slow weeks are 7-ish or so thousand, and it depends upon the size of the floors, up to 12, 13,000. So that's consistent. And that a lot of that came from after you got me onto Google. I mean, a lot of it's my clients, but it doubled, a little more than doubled in 1 year, and then basically tripled in the second year. And then
because they were finding you on Google.
Yeah,
and you're like,
remember you told me my web page was crap, and I said, yeah, well, I'm a floor guy, so I don't do what I built it. So I changed it up a little bit. If I had met you 10 years ago and had done everything you told me to do, I learned a lot from your YouTube.
Yeah.
Then also drove you crazy for the better part of 3 months, I think, 2.5, 3 months, trying to figure everything out. And it got to where now some weeks I'll have 100 calls for things. Now, some of it has to do with the social media. Some of it's from Google. And then some of it's
you do good on Facebook also. And I'm going to back up a little bit because I don't think they heard you, but you're a one-man show. And like you said, on average, you're doing $5 to $7 grand a week.
My minimum, I'd have to look at my books, but the last probably 7 or 8 months, the least amount was about 7,000. And because of what I'm doing, I don't have to buy anything really other than the waxes. I need it. And I buy all of that at the end of the year, typically, to have enough to run me for the year. But that's really all I have to be out is that and my gas. So I'm making 99% profit. The maintenance is if guys are getting older and they still want to make some good money, they have a client base if they've been refinishing and installing all these years. And that's sort of what I did. I had a lot of my old clients that couldn't find anybody to clean their floors. So that all started around 2000, and it built up to where I had enough maintenance clients. By 2006, I told Shannon, I said, I can't keep up with both, and I'm not going to hire any more guys.
Yeah.
So I sold all of my equipment off, and so that I wouldn't be tempted to use the sanding equipment. The edger went first because I hated the edger. But ever since then, so since basically the beginning of 2007, I want to say February or so, 2007, I've been doing nothing but the maintenance.
Yeah. And that's crazy. And like now,
but the numbers are great, and guys could call their old clients if they ever when I would get slow before I hooked up with you.
Yeah,
I would just go back through my list, and if anybody that I'd installed or what have you, I just give them a call or shoot them a text. And text is the greatest thing in the world. You just shoot it to the folks. You shoot it if you shoot it to 10, you're guaranteed, or I am, to get at least 3 or 4. To get on the books. Because I forgot, I got busy.
Yeah, and a lot of guys want to do email marketing, and I hate email marketing. And they're like, because it's a numbers game. You got to send like 10,000 emails out to hopefully get 100 people to open it up and look. And they're like, no, and every time they bug, like, come on, man, we got to do the emails. And I'm like, dude, all I do is when I open my email, I usually hit delete, 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 delete. I don't look at anything. But if someone sends me a text, I will at least look at it.
Right, and it's immediate. It's not tomorrow or 2 days from now. If you get a text, you're going to look at it instantly.
Yeah, and if it's someone like you who's just checking in, going, "Hey, how's the floor doing?" Looking and stuff, they're like, "Oh my God, I forgot about it, man. I'm glad you bugged me. We need to get on the schedule. What can we do?"
Yep, I'll share that. I'll send to you what I sent out. It's very simple. It's like, hey, because I am pretty much, I may not be completely good friends or best friends with my clients, but we're friends.
Yeah.
And and some are almost, I've had them so long now, they're like family. So, they're the greatest ones to send these things to. But I try to, a text, they're going to always open it and look, and you don't have to worry about it. Email, Some of my emails I don't check for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. And I mean, and if you're growing a legitimate business and you and I aren't, I mean, we're just, we're just here because we really want to be here.
We're surviving, man.
Yeah. But if I was young and trying to grow the business like my daughter is and stuff, I'm telling her, and I'm not making her do anything. They all have to do it. I'm not. I told you the other day, I'm sick of trying to beat people up to be successful. I was like, I'm over it. But yeah, you want to keep that database. You want to be sending out the freaking Christmas cards every year. If that's all you did, at least do the Christmas cards and stay in touch with them. But there's every other holiday that you want to do. There's always a reason to send something to someone, and the Christmas card type stuff. And if you know their birthdays, that's good too. But getting something in the mail that's not a bill is still almost fun, because everything else is a freaking, something you got to pay or something that you don't want to look at. There's ways to stay in touch with people now. You can do the newsletters, and that's okay. But that's good if you have a lot of interior designers and decorators and other stuff. But you can send out, and if they're used to hearing from you, the email newsletter is good. But you can say once every 3 months. I think it's fine.
I was going to say quarterly for something like that. Quarterly's more than enough. Because if you send too much, they're just going to block you.
They're going to block you. They don't want to see. They don't want to hear from it. But if it's every 3 months, and you could do like a joke. It's something in there that's fun. They want to see that. You can do the Sudoku that they may want to play around with. You can say, hey, here's a new cleaning product that's on the market. A lot of stuff. There's ways to stay in touch with people, but it's building up that database, because if you're in business for 5 years and you're doing one job a week, that's still 52 jobs in a year. You should be doing more than that. But they're right there. What is that? 50, 100, there's 200, 250 jobs right there that you can always stay in touch with people.
Right.
And it just keeps continually, to grow.
Well, I'll let people know when I send mine out. If you're not, I say hello and I give them it's been so long since you've been, your floor's been maintained, but if you would like to have it done, let me know. If not, disregard this text and I'll check back with you. I typically check back if it's my every 6 month clients. If I haven't heard from them, I'll check back every 90 days. If it's annual clients, I'll check back if I check today, I'll check again in about 6 months.
Yeah. And because with the maintenance, like you, when they sell the house, that's one of the things that they like to kind of forward to the new owner. It's like, oh my God, these floors look great. Are you kidding? Yeah. The wood floor guy, Charlie, is always taking care of them. And here's his information. You want to stay in touch with him and keep them looking good.
We'll actually have a form that when I know a client is going to be selling a house, because typically when they do that, they're going to call me to come clean the floor so they look good. So I just give them a sheet to leave with their information packet for the new homeowners.
Yeah. We just did a house. It was already in escrow, and it couldn't close escrow. It was a bamboo floor. It couldn't close escrow because upstairs in the master bedroom was like 2 boards that had termite damage. So the boards had to be repaired before they'd close. And like, I hated telling, and the real estate agent lady was extremely nice. And I'm like, oh my God, and my daughter had already told her, like, yeah, we have an $1,800 minimum, blah, blah, blah. And she'd already called a couple other people. They don't know anything about bamboo. They can't. It was like, I said, no, we can get it. And, we still have to buy a box. And it's like, and my daughter's like, well, I already told her it was $1,800 minimum. She says she's fine. And I was like, shit, okay. So we do that, but it's the same thing. So we do the 2 board repair, $1,800. Like, one guy was there, like, I don't know, maybe 2.5 hours. My daughter doesn't feel bad. I'm old and I do. I'm like, shit, man. It was like, what the heck? But the new owners came in and were like, hey, you guys are the ones who did the repair. We want to get this whole thing refinished. And this is the whole freaking house. I mean, it's probably 3,000 feet. How much is it going to be? And can you get over here and get it done before Christmas? Originally, they wanted before Thanksgiving. And I said, that ain't happening. not even a chance. But, it's like, and they didn't get any other bids or anything else. But they see all the videos because people say, here's his website. They go to the videos and all that crap. And you do the good, because even before me, you were already posting on Facebook and doing the pictures and some videos and the TikToks. I mean, you do more TikToks and shit than I do. But I think you were doing the music like other guys. I don't know, because you just you finally just started switching over and doing the narration like I've been begging you and everybody else to do. Tell me something about that.
Well, I don't like being seen on camera, or I didn't
Yeah,
used to. I still
yeah.
don't like it a lot. Don't like the sound of my voice. But you'd finally beaten it into me enough. I decided, I guess it was last week I messaged you and I said, hey, take a look at this. That was the very first one I had
Was that
actually,
was that the first one that you did? That you
that
sent it
was
to
the
me?
first. Well, now I've done some where if I'm cleaning a floor, I'll talk a little bit. But that
Yeah,
was the first one on those video shorts that I'd actually sort of explained the process of what I was doing. And,
yeah,
if you're in a homeowner or anybody else, do it yourself or wants to do it that way, they'll know kind of what to do
yeah.
themselves. But it was funny. I had done a test, same video. The one that had the music up to this point, I think it's got like 370 views. The one where I was explaining it's got, I think, about 1,500 now. Same video.
And did they both go up the same time?
One day, the one with the music went up the day before. And I
So it's
decided, what the hell, I'll sit here and do this just to get Brian off my back. And if it doesn't work, I can say, see, it doesn't make any difference. But yeah, you get to rub it in a little bit now that I think people like to hear it's one thing to see it, but
yeah,
when I'm doing those, the ones with the music, see, I speed them up quite a bit.
yeah.
When I'm doing the voice, I slow it down. Now, they don't get to see as much of the video, but they get to see the majority of it.
Yeah, but they're educational. Like the couple that
Right.
just those last two, you may have done three, but I know for sure I watched two that were really good. Just really good. Just one, because you got a great voice, but two, it's like just good knowledge. Like that one where you're filling in the hole and using the color putty, the same freaking color putty that I've used for 40 years. And I tell people it's like Play-Doh, and you can mix it and change the color and mix, whatever. If it's a dark, and people love it, and it's just good stuff.
Well, I hear a lot of the pros, they complain about it and say you ought to do the burn-ins. Well, yeah, but if I do the burn-ins, I'm charging because it takes more time. You have to be more
Yeah.
careful, and there's more room for error.
And I'm like,
So
why?
I'll
Why?
tell a client it's $35 to $50 per crack. The color putty, it's $15 per area you want done. And I'll stay down here all day long for 15, if there's 1,000 of them for $15
Yeah.
a piece.
Yeah. And that,
But there is actually, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, it's good. And it's easy and simple to tell the homeowner, hey, just, here's some color putty. Most paint stores sell it. Home Depot used to. I don't know if they still do, but it's easy to use. You can mix it and just, take your thumb and, fill in the whatever you're filling in, nail hole, crack, whatever it is, and just wipe off the excess really good, and you're good to go. Take a terry cloth, one of those towels, and I think you use the same ones, right? Like the micro thing. Yeah, and like wipe it, and you're good to go.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and try to tell them how to burn and melt and all that. It's like, no, why? Yeah.
But a lot of the new guys that are in this business, and we've got a lot, they're not a big fan of it. I keep hearing, oh, it's going to dry out and crack out. Well, let me tell you, any floor that was done 4 or 5 years ago, if it's over pier and beam and some, if the plywood wasn't installed right before they put the hardwood on it, though you can go ahead and fill that with the putty when you're doing the sanding, but even that's going to walk out over time. There's nothing that's made that's actually going to stay in there.
No. And the wood's going to always be growing and shrinking anyway.
Right.
Like I said, I've been using that crap for 40 years. I don't think I've ever had a homeowner call me up going, hey man, that putty you used dried up and it's, something's wrong with it or something. And I've heard over and over again, you can use it, but you can't put polyurethane over it, oil-based or water-based. And I'm like, okay, but I've been doing it for 40 years.
Right.
For the first 20 years, I did it with oil-based. These last 25 years, I've done it with water-based, and I've never had a problem yet. We use it all the time in between coats.
Now, back when I was doing the recoats and still doing refinishing, if I had to use anything like color putty, there's another one that's because color putty is oil-based. Then there's another one out, and I can't think of the name of the manufacturer off the top of my head, but that's water-based. So if I was going to put water-based over a floor, I would use that water-based putty, and I never, ever got called back, whether it was the water-based or the oil.
Yeah. I think I downloaded one of those short videos that you did. I was going to get your permission before I, shared it with people. Because there's a lot of guys that do the videos and speed things up, but they all have the music in the background. And I'm like, dude, you're killing me. You know, it's like, okay, you like the song or something else, but for me, the whole reason behind videos is to build a relationship and to educate homeowners, which
Right.
makes them almost feel like they owe you something. And most of them, they aren't even in your neighborhood, and if they are, it's just that much better. But when we get the phone calls, you know, like you know, it's like the girls in the office, they're always sending the YouTube video, the links. Hey, watch this video, do this, and you may even be able to take care of it yourself. And most homeowners don't want to take care of it, especially after they see how much work it is.
Right.
So building that relationship and educating them, and when all they're doing is watching and hearing the music, you don't do either one of those. So man, when you sent me that video, I was like, shit, man, this is what he should have been doing, and you know, and just keep doing them.
Well, your family and I owe you, so anything that you ever see of mine that you want to share, unless you're going to talk really bad about me, have at it. If you're going to talk bad about me, give me a chance to come up with a defense.
Come up with something. Hey, but let me see. So in one of the groups that we're in, they've been doing this thing, all you mother effers, wood flooring contractors, and then they're just changing the cities. But this one was
Right.
New Jersey. You know, stop charging the $2.50 or $3 on sanding floors and finishing with water-based polyurethane. You guys should be at a $6 minimum right now. The cost of living, New Jersey. Stop lowballing yourself. Yada yada. Seen this as part of as a post for another guy in your area. Figured it was worth a shot. Yada yada yada. And I'm okay. I'm all for everybody charging as much as they can. I don't. My numbers don't. My numbers have never been dictated by what someone else is charging. My numbers have always been dictated by the homeowner. Meaning, you know, you've seen me over the years. Is like my whole answer is, how much should you charge? As much as the homeowner is willing to
pay. Right.
Yeah, and not only this one, but I was, and again, I'm arguing with these guys because another guy said, what should I be charging? Because I want to be fair to the homeowner. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're not in business to be fair. You're in business to make a profit. And that mindset, that thinking is like, we don't live in a communist country yet. And thank God after this election, it's going to be a while before we are. But that whole mindset is, who gets to decide what's fair? Are you saying because I charge $8 a foot and you only charge $4 a foot, does that mean I'm being unfair?
You're a damn capitalist.
Yeah, so it's like, and maybe I'm paying my guys more than you, or maybe it's like whatever it is, but there's no such thing as that whole thing is being fair. Fair is like, you know, telling the homeowner what you're going to do, here's how much you're going to charge, and then doing it. Give them the chance to say no.
Well, guys can say what they want. You and I could go into business tomorrow together and charge $2.50 to $3 a square foot and still turn a profit and make a good living.
Yeah.
What it is, I'm not beholden, and you're not beholden to any one finish that is super expensive or any products that are super expensive. So you don't have to use the things that are peddled all the time.
Yeah.
But
hey, before we carry on with that, it's like Sprig was asking why the color putty. Hey, Sprig, if you didn't catch the 10 minutes ago, Charlie did a video last week, I think, where he's using color putty in one of the pre-finished floors, or just a floor that's already finished that he maintained.
The floor had a wormhole in it.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I know Sprig's seen plenty of those.
Yeah, no, because when it comes to hardwood flooring, for people who are watching this right now on YouTube or a year from now, Sprig is probably one of the best craftsmen of maintaining floors, bringing floors back to life. Man, I've been following this dude for years now. If for no other reason, his history. I think his family may have, he's probably going to talk shit about me now, but his family may have came over on the Mayflower. And I'm not saying it as a joke. It's almost, you know, that whole West Coast or East Coast area, man, he gets to do these houses like George Washington slept in. And he did one where he posted, I should make him do one of these podcasts with us, but he posted a house that was in the Civil War or in the Revolutionary War that his relatives lived in. And now he got to go back and maintain the floors and bring them back to life. And he had pictures of way back then and the pictures now where he's standing in front of it. And one of the plantations, I think down in
Is that the John Brown house? I think
It
one of
may
them,
have been, but he's done so many of them. It's mind boggling. I bet he could go in, and you and I could do it too, but we wouldn't want to. But he could go in and refinish a hardwood floor with no electricity, no tools, and do it the way that they did do it in 1600, 1700. And we used to do it. I did for like
yeah,
5 years.
I'll let
Yeah, we
Sprague do, I'll let Sprague do that.
expect to do it, but
And Dave Marzalek, they want to get out and scrape it a little bit.
yeah.
That's,
But Sprig's teaching his kids and a
right.
couple of other younger guys, so that the knowledge is carried on, and he's doing like Congress, the White House. I mean, I mean, so he knows. If anyone knows, he does.
Yeah, well,
But
just to answer his question, what I'm talking about using the color putty for is just little small cracks or holes that somebody's got that they don't want to spend, they don't want to refinish or replace boards or anything like that. They just want to make sure, and I do a lot of work for real estate agents, and they just want something fixed quickly.
yeah,
They don't want to, spend a lot of time or a lot of money on getting it taken care of. So I just use the color putty to fill in anything that's going to be obvious if somebody's walking in. Then I'm either cleaning out, doing the deep clean afterwards, or the paste wax and polishing over it. So
yeah,
that's just the reason for the color putty. It's just something that's quick and easy and affordable for the homeowner. I need to find it and send it to you, Brian. I found a new putty at one of my woodworking places here in Dallas. They say that, and I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but they say that it's like color putty. You can use it and you can put it in, and it'll be hard, like a regular wood filler would be, within 2 to 3 hours. So
wow,
I'll test it out. I'm going to order a box of it
yeah.
and test it out and see if that works.
And we talked about like that post that was last week. The guy wants to be what's fair to the homeowner, and I'm like, and I should message Sprig. I don't know if he'd tell me what he charges, but he's got to charge. I mean, because like I said, he's working in some of the just most crazy, awesome places. I've almost wanted to reach out to him and say, hey man, I'll fly back there and run the buffer for free just to be there.
I've thought about the same thing.
And I'm not going to say who, because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But one of the guys that I'm real good friends with that has helped me out several times. But he had sent me a video of the president walking by and some other shit. And he goes, I don't even know if I should be sending this. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want nobody to get in trouble. But yeah, so that whole numbers thing and running a business, it's just, I wish guys would educate themselves more, or at least as much on the business side as they do the trade side. And they always go into these trade classes and they never go to the business classes, but yet they want to have a business. And I'm like, dude, the trade doesn't have anything to do with the business. But this, I was arguing with today was the one I just read is, one of my other guys, Doug, who used to live in New Jersey and actually moved out of New Jersey because he was sick of the guys charging, $1.50, $2 a foot. And these are big companies charging, like you just said, $2.50 a foot. And there's something, and they've got 4 or 5 locations, and and they're making a big profit. And someone else had said they're always saying, I want to get back to where this guy was. He says they can charge that and still be profitable because they're cutting corners everywhere. They don't run a legitimate business. They don't have workers' comp. They don't charge or pay sales tax. And even though they're supposed to, but they get away with it because they didn't get caught yet, they'll just close up shop and go back to their country. But the state has way too few in place. And so I responded to that guy, dude. I'm like, dude, I know these companies. I looked them up when I first heard about them, and they're big time legitimate, and they've been in business for a long time, and they got a lot of 5-star reviews. So they're not getting in trouble. Like you had just said, is they've got a system to where it's a numbers game for them. They're doing 10,000 a week, probably, and got different crews going, and everybody's making a little bit of money. And like you said, I tell guys all the time, and they either think I'm full of shit or trying to goad them. I'm like, dude, I could charge probably half of what you're charging and still make double the profit that you're making, because we've got the systems to where we run in and we get it done. And a lot of these guys are trying to feed their ego and not their bank account, and they're trying to make every floor a 10 out of 10, a 10 plus. And I'm like, okay, but at the end of the day, you're in business to make a profit. And you're worried about, and this kind of like what had frustrated me about that post and that response is he's trying to make up excuses of why guys have to charge that, or he can't charge it, or why he's not, making it. And I'm like, quit worrying about what everybody else is charging. Charge as much as you can charge, track everything, get your systems to where you can do it better and faster. So by this time next year, you could charge less and make more money. And I learned that years ago reading the biography of Henry Ford. His whole thing every year was he wanted to be able to pay his employees more, make more profit for the company, and charge less for the truck to the consumer. And when you look at those three, you think it's impossible. You think, well, you can't pay the guys more, make more profit, and charge less for the vehicle. That just, you add it up and it doesn't make sense. But that's how he became so rich, is like he looked at his systems over and over again. Where can we fine tune it? Where can we do this? How can we do this better? How can this thing that's taken 2 minutes, how can we get it down to 30 seconds? Let's get it better. Let's do it better. Let's do it better. Let's do it better. Can we buy more products and get a better price on the products? Can we buy more sandpaper and get a better price on the sandpaper? All of it. And that's what he did over and over again. And as any business, it doesn't matter if it's construction, if it's cutting hair, if, selling cars, whatever it is, that's how you should lead, tracking everything every day. How can we do it better? How can we do it faster? How can we make more profit? And can we lower the price to the consumer? Asking those questions over and over again, not crying about what the guy's doing down the street, because all that's going to do is keep you in that crybaby mode, which kills me. It's like, oh my God, get over it already.
Being a one-man band, I can tell you that a lot of these guys get hung up too much on the number. And you're not always going to make, if you're slow, don't die on that hill of $6 a square foot.
Yeah.
Drop your price a little bit. Fast nickels are just as good as slow dimes. I can assure you, I've done that many times
years ago, and I laughed my ass off. So say it again, Charlie. Say it again.
Fast nickels are just as good as slow dimes.
Yes.
That means if you're slow and your guys are slow, and you need to keep them busy, drop your price a little bit until business picks up, or until you figured out what to do to make your business pick up.
Yeah. And someone, I don't even think it was the hardwood floor trade. I think it was a painting trade, but someone, I don't know, maybe they watched my video and just wrote an article and posted it. But that's the whole thing, is like, dude, don't try to book up for a year. Don't try to book up for 6 months. You should be, if you're booked up for 3 months, that means you should be doubling your prices. If they're saying yes, raise your prices. If they keep saying yes, keep raising your prices. They keep saying
that's me. Hello, that's me.
It's just,
no, that was me. You had me petrified to go up on my prices, and now I've gone up on them every year, and I'm busier than ever. And that's another reason why my numbers are as decent as they are, is I kept going up in price. And there's still guys in DFW that do it. Well, most guys in DFW are still higher than me, so I'm able to get to work and I still make more money than I could have ever dreamt of at those lower prices that I was charging.
Yeah, I mean, because like you said, you're a one-man show. You work when you want to work, and you're still probably, and you can tell them how much you make per year if you want, but you're probably making, and they're gonna think I'm full of shit, but as you're just a one-man dude, you're making almost 75% more. Get that? 75% more than what most, business owners make, and most guys in this trade make every year, doing the installation, doing the refinishing, the sanding, the edger, the stain, the polyurethane, all of that. You're just doing the maintenance and still making almost 3 times more profit than they're making. And
janitor life, brother, janitor life.
Yeah, but but you're maintaining hardwood floor. You're not maintaining carpet. You're not maintaining linoleum. Not maintaining. I don't know if you do the LVP or not, or the tile.
I send that out. I give that out to whoever wants it.
Yeah, but you've got
Yeah.
systems. I mean, you know exactly what you're going to do when you walk in. You know what to spray it with, which pad you're hitting it with, how long it's going to take, which front, all of that stuff. You could do it blindfolded.
Well, see, I have roughly, if there's not much to move around, I can do roughly about 3,000 square feet up to maybe 3,500 in about 3 to 4 hours.
God,
And so that's my day.
yeah,
I
3,000
I
square
leave the
feet.
house at, I leave the house at 9:30. I'm typically home by 2 or so,
Yeah,
3 o'clock.
yeah. And for 3,000 square feet, to maintain it, to go in there and make it shiny like a new penny, like you do. I
It's
mean,
2,400, because it depends upon what I'm charging and what needs to be moved about. I'm 80 cents to $1 a square foot. So that puts you, if it's 3,000 feet, I could
yeah,
make as little as, whatever that is, $2,400,
yeah,
as much as about 3,000, up to 32 if I've got to putty anything or touch anything up for somebody.
yeah.
Because if I have to stain and do touch-ups, that's all
More money.
addition.
Yeah, that's all extra money. Oh, that was the other video that you did, and I hope RJ's still watching. He says, "Good evening, fellas. Good evening, RJ."
What's up, RJ?
Because RJ does a lot of videos, but they all have the music, and I love the videos. Don't get me wrong, but I just, they're not building a relationship, they're not educating. But you did that other video where you showed the highs and lows and the wearing out, and you were explaining, right? And you were adding the color to and by the time it finished, and that was the other one. That's when I text you back going, shit, my God, man, it's like you're going to be a millionaire. You're going to be rich. Oh yeah,
Or somebody will learn how to do it on their own.
Yeah, because I said you're going to be rich and famous, and you're like, I don't care about the fucking famous.
Right.
Just give me the money.
Yeah, too many guys want to be on the cover of magazines. I just want the money.
Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time. I was like, man, you guys are trying to get on magazines and all this other stuff, and I'm sitting here, I don't have time to look at the magazine because I'm at the bank all day long.
But I don't need to be on Texas Monthly. I just want my check, and I'm gonna go get some beer.
Yeah, I just want the money. Just send
Right.
me the money. Send me the money. What is that? Jerry Maguire. Just show me the money.
Show me the money.
And that's like, because I probably work like as a contractor's contractor, helping these guys grow their business. And that new program that I joined, that new platform, I should say, school. Man, we had a couple more new guys today join, and it's $7 a month. Getting ready to kick it up to $14 a month, and then I'll wait a couple of months and then we'll raise it again. But I work with the least amount of guys that I work with is hardwood floor guys. It's mostly painters and general contractors.
Oh wow.
And the HVAC dudes. That's the money, man. The HVAC guys. But like a general contractor or even painters or other guys in the trade, my questions never change. It's always look back over the last year, the last 6 months, and what 3 projects brought in the most amount of profit for the least amount of energy. And they're always stumped by that question. They're like, huh? I'm like, what? Look back over the last 6 months, the last 3 months, the last year, what 3 projects brought in the most amount of profit? And most of them don't even know what profit is or how much profit a job brought in. They're just hoping they've got money left at the end of the month when they pay their bills, which drives me crazy. But if you know that, you look at those 3 projects, and I'll say, hey, man, in my opinion, you called me for help. That's what I think you should focus on. Out of those 3, what brought in the most profit? That's what let's start there. Let's just bring profit. And it's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't feed my ego. That doesn't make me feel good. I don't get online and brag about doing this, or I didn't do that. So like, dude, if it's like, then quit charging, do everything for free, and just get on all, like you say, get on all the magazine covers. All these fancy jobs that you got to do and didn't make any money.
My priority was all. Now I love doing great work. I've done as much work as anybody. I've been at it a long time, just like you have.
Yeah.
My priority is how much money am I going to make at the end of the day? And that's why I was telling you about leaving behind refinishing. It got to where I was making as much money or more a week doing the maintenance because I could only refinish a job. And while that job was, I would get it stained, and I had to let the stain dry back in the day. It's not like it is now where you can put on 2 or 3 coats of finish in a day.
Yeah.
So if I sat at a job and could finish it on Monday and get it stained, I had the next 3 or 4 days to do the maintenance jobs. So I was making more money doing that than I was the one sand job.
Yeah, because we used to do everything. You know, the inlays, the borders, the herringbones, the hand distressing, the square walnut dowels. We'd do floors that we would mimic castles in France and install them and then hand sand them and hand scrape them like artwork to where it looked like the floor had been there and walked on for 500 years or 200 years. And if that's the case, there's certain walk patterns and there's knot holes in the wood that would, for 100 years, the knot hole would still be there. So we would scrape out around it to look like it, you know, like just the same way. I mean, if you walk on it over it for 100 years, but this area over here would have a piece of furniture on it, so it wouldn't even be touched. So we would do all this art stuff, bow tie, walnut things that keep the wood from growing and shrinking, and square dowels, because back in the day there wouldn't be a round dowel, but they wouldn't, because they wouldn't have a machine that would make one. So we'd put in these square dowels and round those off and use old planks, and we wouldn't do 3-5-7. We would just throw in whatever we wanted. And if the wood had a split in it, we would just round. I mean, I've done it all. I mean, I could teach a class on it, but that isn't where the profit was, man. That wasn't the
Right.
that
That's
money.
the thing. You could sand 7 or 8 floors in the time it took to do that. And I'm not interested in one job or that a limited amount of money, because you can only charge so much or they're not going to use you.
Yeah, and not only that, but the whole thing is I would have to be there. It's hard to. It takes a long time to teach that. And I wanted, 3 crews, 4 crews, 5 crews, like McDonald's, man. It's like, turn the oven on to this temperature. So you can't mess that up. You put down the hamburger patties, boom, 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 hit the button, you beep, 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 to flip it.
Flip it.
Beep, 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 take it off. All of that shit. If Donald Trump can work there, anybody can work there. Because that was my first job, McDonald's. But and then I should have brought it out here. I've got Gilbert's book, the E-Myth inside, but it was all this, and he refers to McDonald's, but it was all that. I'm like, so what's going to be easy for me to train these guys and have them trained within 3 months that they could run their own crew? And it was refinishing hardwood floors. I didn't want to do the installation. I mean, I still could. We do the repairs and I teach them all of that. But our main focus is refinishing. I almost got crazy to where I almost wanted to turn down all the jobs unless it was natural. I didn't even want to do, because I used to do alcohol stains, water dyes, bleaching. I mean, I can do it all. But I don't want to teach that. And I'm teaching it to these guys a little bit, but only so that they know when I'm dead and gone, they'll have that knowledge, and the knowledge is passed on to them. I don't want.
Yeah, but if they're smart, they're only going to want to do floors that they can do natural.
Yeah, and easy to
and
do.
Turn it. Go to the next one.
Exactly. I'm in this for the profit. And guys are like, and I get it. I mean, if this is what brings up your self-esteem, then keep doing it. Doing all the fancy crap. But for me, it's I need my time, and you're the same age as I am. So the older you get, the more older. Time. Yeah, maybe what a couple of months.
I think about 9 or 10 months. Well, your birthday's in 2 days, right?
Yep, Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Right, Friday.
So
Friday,
you're going to be 60.
Friday, I'll be 60 years old.
Okay, the 31st of December, I'll be 61.
Okay, so you're right there, almost a year.
Okay.
But like I know is like man, all you have on earth is time, and the older you get, the more valuable it becomes. But even way back when, my only reason for working was so I had money to do stuff with my family, whether it was vacations or skiing or Disney or dinners and all that other stuff. I didn't want to spend 90% of my time working and then give them the money to run off and go do stuff. A lot of guys do. That's cool. But I wanted to do it with them because that's time you don't get back. You just don't get it back. So that's the other thing as a contractor, the contractor's contractor working with these guys is, I ask them those 3 questions, or that question, what's the 3 projects? But the other thing is like, It ain't about they get confused when I ask them what kind of life you want. And it's like, because that doesn't have anything to do with business. So they think. I was like, dude, the only reason we have a business and we make money is because we need money, period, to live the life that we want. So it's like and then so everything is connected to everything. And I love what you do because, like you said, you can leave the house, be gone for 4 hours, and come back with $3,000 cash. I mean, you can do that every day almost. Yeah. And now I think your next thing is like, how much longer do you really want to do it? And it's hard to say no to that kind of easy money.
Well, if it hadn't been for you, I would have slowed down more. I guess it was 2021, and Shannon and I were talking about the fact that I wasn't going to be doing it. I'd gotten bored. Yeah. I kept watching you, and I finally said, that guy's onto something with all that Google, and so that's when I started hitting you up a little bit.
Yeah.
And the more I learned and applied it, I think when I first got on Google, I was like number 287 in Dallas, if you Google it. And you had me to the top 10 within, I think it was 3 months or so. And then after that, for a long time, I was number one, but then I've gotten lazy with it. And instead of, being on it every day like I was, and sometimes twice a day, I'll post something on there about 3 or 4 times a week now.
Yeah. And because you just said people are going to hear, and within 3 months, you have me within the top 10 or somewhere like that.
It was. I was numbered. I wrote it down. I was numbered. I still have it in there on the notes from when I talked to you in the beginning. I have I'm one of those hoarders. I keep a little bit of everything. And but I was up with day one. Then I got on there and I said, man, because you kept saying you got to get into the top three. Well, shit. If you're looking at 287, that's a hill to climb. And I was thinking it'll take me 2 years, and doing everything you said. Short of I didn't redo the website or anything. I was at that time I was sending them to that old original site, which was crap. And I just updated a little bit. But I want to say it was almost 3 months to the day. Yeah. It was very short order that I was in the top 10. Then it took about another 4, 5, 6 months, and I was at number one. And once I hit number one, I was there for about a year, maybe 15 months or so. And then again, I've gotten comfortable, and I've gotten more complacent like I was in 2021 when you and I hooked up.
And that's what I wanted to say is like, because you said I got you there. I didn't do shit. You did everything. You watched my video.
Okay, but without you.
Yeah.
It was. You have so much to teach these guys. It's not just the knowledge; it's the advice on how to run their business. It's raise your prices if you're. And I was low, and I was also one of those guys. I think I told you when we first got talking. I don't want to get into all that Google crap. I like word of mouth. That's all my business comes from that. I'm so proud of that. I'm over here poor as hell, but I'm proud of the fact that I only do word of mouth. You need everything. You need Facebook. You need Google, but you also need some of that knowledge, and you need to raise your prices. All of the things that had I not met you, if I were still trickling along, I would be at that 95, comfortable, very comfortable, 95 to 105,000 a year. Yeah.
And now you're like triple that.
Quadruple last year.
And what you tell me, because I barely remembered it until you reminded me. But one of our first phone calls or something, one of the first times we talked, you had said something, and I was like, I forgot what it was, but I said, well, you need to get over that shit.
Oh, that was what was that? That was over talking about my teaching guys how to do the floor maintenance. You wanted me to do something, and I said, okay, I'm not going to do that. And then you just blurted out, that's my favorite line that you've ever given me was, you're going to have to get over that shit. And I did, and it made me more money.
Yeah, it's like, but so I'm just saying, like these guys, anybody watching this video, and if you're watching this video on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe button. You can buy us a cup of coffee down below.
Hey, Sergio.
Yeah, Sergio, Houston, Texas is in the house. But these guys don't have to hire me and pay me money. They can go to the YouTube channel like you did and watch them and just take fucking action.
But if they go through.
The only time I have to charge somebody is when I'm doing it for them.
Right.
And they're using my team to build the websites and all the other stuff. And and it just depends on where you're at. It's like everything. You're either going to pay with money or you're going to pay with time. And if you're out doing hardwood flooring and making money, you don't have the time to keep doing it. So you got to hire the office manager. You got to hire someone to build the website, to get you on Google Maps, to do like all the other stuff. And then if you want me to walk you through the systems, and it's all on the YouTube channel. It just you can speed everything up if you're hiring me and my team, and we're just doing it for you and doing it with you. But I tell guys all the time, it's like, dude, the YouTube channel is there. The next step up from the YouTube channel is our program platform school. Dominate your trade, right there, master your business. All of my training videos that I used to sell are on that platform for free. You just go up into the classroom and hit it and start watching them and taking action. And then the next step up from that is working with us and having us do it for you, which is still $300 a month. $297 is cheaper than most people pay, or like one of the guys that we know is paying $300 a month just for a freaking website. I'm like, you what? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. I spent 3 solid weekends of my life, and maybe I know 3 and maybe 4. I went upstairs to the media room, shut the door, watched every video that you had, took notes, and then had made notes of which ones I wanted to go back and hear. But there's a couple of mine or a couple of yours that are my favorites, and I have to go look at my notes to let you know which ones they are. But they were the ones that helped me the most.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But shit, that's been an hour that just screamed by. Man, I appreciate you joining us. I think we're going to do this more often. Maybe we'll do something even on a different day and just call it 2 old dudes griping. I don't know. And we'll be like this. We
can do that.
If anybody's ever watched that TV show, The Muppets, remember that? There used to be the 2 old dudes up in the stage talking shit to everybody. We may be those guys. I don't know.
Yep, sounds good. I appreciate you having me out.
Yeah, because you've helped so many of these guys just like I have, to where now I don't know if you're as frustrated as I am, but I'm tired of trying to beat people up to make them be successful. I'm like, dude, go to the channel, go to this, whatever. Just I don't have a lot of time left to waste. I can only spend it with the dudes who are serious. So with that, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, just appreciate you having me on, brother.
All right, man. Love you. And I will see everybody next Tuesday.
Much love.